Hi, welcome to Gabie's Knit Goodies. I am so excited to be recording a podcast. I have finished object and a number of other things to share with you, as well as a little bit of embroidery that I've picked up lately. So I guess the first thing to talk about is, I guess we should start with what I'm wearing. I have on my Swiss tee that I've made, I've almost finished the pattern writing. I'm working on doing the sizes, like color coding the sizes, so like all size small in blue and all size medium in green, so that you it's easier to recognize your number of like cast on stitches and repeats and things like that. I heard about that from some interview of somebody I saw, and she said she liked to color code her sizes. So anyways, this is going to be the Swiss tee because of all of the holes, and it looks like Swiss cheese. This is my long sleeve version. And I think last time I told you that my sleeves might be a little short because I ran out of yarn. I was cleaning out a basket, let's see, week before last. I think it's been a couple of weeks now. I was cleaning out a basket and I found some more of this yarn. It is the Knitpicks Comfy Fingering Cotton, I believe. And it's just in the black. And this is actually what I still have left. A little bit left, which I guess I could make my sleeves even longer if I wanted to. I have not blocked this sweater. It is a two-piece, front, back, seam together. Then you pick up stitches for the little neck band and the arms. These are just eyelets, and it's a high-low hem. And the front has this lovely Indian cross stitch. And I've done a twisted rib at the bottom. And like I said, the side, or the front and the back, the hem is longer in the back because I like that. Mine is a fairly cropped version, but I'm also fairly short-waisted. But you could do an extra repeat and make it around 6 inches longer. An extra repeat of the eyelet pattern before you get to the armpit. It's knit bottom up. So anyways, my original pattern has teeny sleeves, but I'm gonna add in my pattern the option for a long sleeve or short sleeve, and knit on size 8 needles, so it makes a very like drapey, loose fabric, very airy, and like I said, I think I said the yarn is cotton. I think that the Knitpicks Comfy Cotton might have a little bit of acrylic in it, but it's mainly cotton. Anyways, I love how this version turned out. My original one was knit in I Love Cotton, picked up from Hobby Lobby in a cream color, or ivory, something like that. And that yarn is a little bit thicker, and so it made a slightly more, not quite as loose, airy, drapey fabric as this one. So anyways, one more shot of it. Just have it over a t-shirt. But I love it. I'm so excited about it. Yay. My sleeves are long enough. Yay. I was worried about that. They're just simple sleeves. I did no shaping. I wanted it to be fairly simple, easy to knit, and easy to wear garment. I think if anyone ends up knitting this for me who's watching, I think the trickiest part will probably be this row right here of the they're like drop stitches. You wrap the yarn, and then the next row you drop those wraps, so it just makes like really elongated stitches that you then cross over each other. So it's not too bad, but there are a couple of video tutorials that I'm going to link in my pattern that show it really clearly. So yes, guess I'm not sure what else to say about this other than I'm super excited about it. And I'm happy that it turned out so well. So, my next finished object, yes, I have two. And in all honesty, this is a finished object, however, it's not been blocked, and I still have some ends to weave in. So, I consider it finished, but I guess it's not 100% ready to wear. But my next finished object is sock 1 and sock 2. Yay! I finished both socks. This is Yorkshire Spinners yarn, West Yorshire Spinner, I think, yarn in the Fairy Lights colorway. And I have all of this left. I think that I could make like an entire another set of socks. And maybe I'll do that for one of my kids. Or I could make like arm warmers or leg warmers, or maybe like fingerless gloves, or maybe just full finger gloves or mittens. I don't know, but I have a lot of it left. I should weigh it to see how much, because it's a lot. So here are the socks, and the pattern is my favorite vanilla socks. I forget who it's by, but I will put it on the screen and a link to it down below. I found the pattern on Ravelry, and it is a free pattern. I believe I used the second size up, so it might be 64 stitches, I believe. I'm not 100% sure, but it's the second size, it's not the smallest one. And it has heel flap and gusset with, I think this is called an Eye of Partridge heel. And let's see, what else can I say about the socks? I'm excited they're done. I kind of wish I had either gone down a little bit on my needle size or else used the smaller pattern. I don't know if that would have been good or not. I feel like they're a little looser on the ankle, but I might have tiny ankles compared to the rest of my feet, because I don't think they're loose anywhere else, but like they're a little loose through here. But they still stay up. I'm just worried about them stretching out a bit. Now the yarn is, I think, 75% wool and 25% nylon, so they should be fairly durable. And in terms of matching, I think that actually worked out pretty well. Not perfect, but pretty well. So let's see if I can show this off. So we have the red stripes, blue stripes. Where it got slightly mixed up is around that heel. I did not do anything contrasting. So on this one I have a full pink stripe and then goes into the blue stripe after the green in between. But this one has that extra little bit of pink stripe there before going to the blue. But it ends, they both end in a pink toe with a little green seam, and it has a Kitchener stitch toe. I had to refresh my memory of the Kitchener stitch. So they actually really do match up pretty well. It's just that one part right around the right there that changes. So I thought that was pretty good. Oh, here's the heel. So in this little triangle of the heel is all pink in both of them. So I thought that was kind of cool. So I have socks for me. Yay! Okay, those are my finished objects. It's a little warm in here, so I'm rolling up my sleeve. Speaking of warmth, let's talk about a summer knit. This is my Camisole number 2. by My Favorite Things Knitwear and knit out of Hyperion, I think it's Hyperion, Hypothesis yarns in the Atlas colorway, and it's a fingering weight, I'd say a light fingering weight. I think it had 463 yards, something like that, for a 100 gram skein. Like I said, Atlas colorway, and it's beautiful yarn. Just love it. I love the overall color, and then I love the little specks that are in it. The only negative thing is that I played yarn chicken and I lost. So, and I also, I didn't read through the whole pattern beforehand, and I was thinking that the shaping, this shaping in the front, that it was just in the front. But come to find out that this shaping is supposed to also be in the back, and I didn't realize that. So mine is actually modified from the original pattern because I ran out of yarn and I do not want to go buy any more for just the small amount I would need. And I ran out of yarn right here. I used every last inch of this yarn, I feel like, and it stopped right here. So I don't know if I'm going to keep what I've done. A while back I took some yarn, some bare yarn, and I dyed it with avocados, attempting to get that blush pink color that sometimes you see. I did not achieve that color. In fact, it was a very light, which you might not even be able to tell, like a peachy kind of color. So I don't know if you can even tell that this is a color. Here, maybe up next to white. Oh yeah, there you go. You can tell that it has some color. But out of all of my stash, this was the, out of all of my stash, this was, like, it went with the other yarn the best. So this is what I ended up picking. However, I really wanted to finish my tank top. I really wanted like a dark color, more like that, but I just didn't have anything. So what I did was I kind of faded in with like one stripe, yeah, of the stuff to kind of fade it from one to another. And then I finished off the strap in this. And like I said, I hadn't read through the whole pattern, and what it had me do when you split for the sleeves and then work this front piece, you actually put the back stitches on hold because you're going to be working that same pattern in the back, which I didn't realize, or a similar one. And so I had all these live stitches on the back that I also had to do something with. So I finished the straps in that cream color, or apricot, a light apricot. But then I had to do something with the back. And so what I've currently done, I took those live stitches and I did an I-cord bind off right there to have kind of a nice finish to it. And it's okay, but it's just on the back. And so I feel like it's a little odd. It doesn't all go. And so I figure my two options are A, leave it and use it as a camisole, like under things where you wouldn't really see the back anyways. Or B, buy new yarn that's darker. Or C, option C, I was even considering taking this yarn and doing an I-cord around like the whole top edge and even on the sleeves, or not sleeves, the straps. So it would make the straps wider. They kind of look like maybe 3 bumps, I guess, 3 ridges on there, which would be kind of cool looking, I think. And it would totally reinforce the neck, but it would give it a totally different look. And I haven't quite decided if I like that or not, because like the whole thing would be edged in this light color. And so I'm going back and forth between whether do I love that idea or do I hate that idea. And if I did it, I don't know if I could like go back. Like how difficult would that be to take it all off? I don't want to ruin my garment, but at the same time, it might be, I don't know, it might be a good option. I knit a medium, just so you know, and what else? It does fit, it's not tight, but it's not baggy. It fits. And before I blocked it, it looked really tiny, like I think you guys saw last time. So it does fit, but it's not loose. So anyways, I think it's really pretty. I wish that I had just had a little bit more yarn. So what should I do? What should I do? I don't know yet. Still thinking about it. But today's nice and warm, so I kind of want to wear it. Okay, so that was my camisole number 2, my summer knitting. And now I guess I will talk about my Ramblin Woman. I have shown this a number of times on here, but for those who are new, I knit a Ramblin Woman by Caitlin Hunter out of acrylic yarn that my mother bought from me for me from a thrift store for like $2. And it was like a kit of some type. Didn't have any instructions, but it had a ton of yarn, like 8 balls of yarn, all in coordinating colors. And I liked the colors, so I decided to use them. And last time I just steeked the front, and I was debating about the bottom hem and what to do with that. Since then, I decided that the bottom hem, if y'all remember, it kept flipping up. It kept like folding up, and I didn't like that. But I'd already cut the front, so I couldn't continue to knit in the round, like pick it out and knit in the round. But I did pick out the bind off, and then I just knit back and forth. And it is a twisted rib knit ribbing at the bottom. But the longer ribbing totally worked in terms of getting it to lay flat. I think it was only like this long before, and so I more than doubled the length of the hem. So I'm really happy about that, because I like not only the fact that it's not flipping up, but I also like the added length to the body of the garment. I really think my row gauge must be tighter than the original pattern, because mine's a little short, or shorter than I expected it to be. And then I also picked up stitches for the, I guess you call it a button band even when there's no buttons. So I did that on both sides. So really the only thing left to do is to weave in my ends and figure out my closure. It needs a closure because the acrylic makes it very stiff, and you really see that shaping from the like bust out, that kind of A-line shaping. So it really needs to kind of be crossed like this to look good. So I'm still debating on whether I want to do a tie like she has. She does a belted thing in her pattern. So I could do that, or I could do one of those like jewel closures, which would be cool. I guess I could possibly do a button or 2. I don't know. Anyways, there's that. And it's basically done. hopefully next time I talk about it, it will be 100% done and ready for the fall. So that's that. And now, my last knitted object that I will discuss for now, and then I'll show you what's been taking up my other handcraft time. So I'm in the process of knitting another one of my own designs that I knit a while ago, and the pattern's in progress. I printed off the pattern actually in a size smaller than what I knit originally, and I'm like self-testing it. And this yarn is Knit Picks. I think it's like a kettle dyed hawthorn maybe. It's a sock yarn, 75-25. I just love the turquoisey color. It does, because it's like a tonal, I guess. So it has different spots where it kind of pools, but I really don't mind it. I feel like it gives it kind of a, I don't know, a casual vintagey vibe. Maybe vintagey is not the right word for it. Reminds me of like, I don't know, like New Mexico, and I don't know, I get that vibe from this kind of color and the swirl of the way the dye works together. Anyway, so I really like it. And my colorwork at the top, because this pink is a speckled yarn, it doesn't give a lot of definition to the colorwork, which I also kind of like in this one. My other version I made, my original, is very defined because my colorwork is in black, and then the rest of the sweater is in a camel color. So you can clearly see like the geometric pattern, whereas this one, it's a little different. So this is it. I am not sure how long I'm going to make it. I think I want it fairly long. So, and then I just have to pick up the sleeves and finish those, and then it'll be done. This one's a slow work in progress, and it's currently my mindless knitting because it's just stocking it in the round. I have some short rows to make the neck higher in the back. So that is that. Here's the yarn. I don't remember what it's called. I originally discovered this yarn when I was trying to do my Sunset Highway by Caitlin Hunter, and then I really liked it, so I ordered extra. Okay, so that was all my knitting, and like I mentioned earlier, I picked up a little bit of embroidery lately. I was inspired on Instagram by some, I don't know, some random search thing that popped up, and there was, it was like a monogram with flowers in the letter, and it was very much packed in there. It wasn't like outlined or spread out, and I really liked it, and so I decided to just wing it. And of course, when I picked up my stuff, I couldn't find the original inspiration anywhere, no matter how hard I searched Instagram. So I just had to kind of go on my own. But I really like how it turned out. Hold on, I have like dust and things on here, or fuzz. So this is what I made. It is an E, obviously. And I just kind of made up flowers. Some of the flowers I glanced online at just to get some inspiration for flowers, for embroidered flowers. But I just kind of just packed them in. So there they are. I love how it turned out. I think I'm going to put it in a hoop. I ordered some stuff from the fabric store, or the craft store, from Michael's the other day for curbside pickup, which I loved, by the way. I love the curbside pickup. But they didn't have the right size hoop. I ordered a 5-inch because that was the only one I could order for curbside pickup, but that is just slightly too small. It just touches the edges, which won't work. So I originally wanted a 6-inch, which I think would be perfect. So I'll have to wait and see if I can get that. But yay! I like it. My last name begins with an E, so that's why I did an E. I just think it turned out so pretty. And it was really addictive, and it reminded me of like watching a flower garden grow. If you can imagine that. And how all the flowers were just like popping up everywhere. So I was thrilled with that. And then sometimes I get myself into these difficult projects. I have the mentality that I can do anything I set my mind to, just like your mother always tells you. I still feel that way. So we have friends coming over at some point in time. They're driving from out of state for a work thing, and they used to live here in town. They live out in Wyoming now, and a couple of years ago we went out to Yellowstone with them because they're not too far from Yellowstone National Park, and we saw all kinds of animals, and it was a wonderful trip. And they are the hardest people to like get gifts for, and so since they're going to be coming into town at some point in time, or the next, maybe in a couple of weeks, I guess, something like that, we were trying to figure out a gift to get them because one of them had a birthday recently. And because of my embroidery thing that I had started, and that I started looking at embroidery on Instagram, and I found some really cool, like, exotic animals done in a very detailed, realistic way. And that made me, for some reason, think, oh, I'll make them an animal that we saw out there. And out of all the animals we saw in Yellowstone, one that is not as typical to see and not as done up, I guess, in pictures and things like that, was a weasel. We actually saw a weasel like really close by, and he had like a mouse in his mouth. And so I decided I could maybe embroider one of those. So this is what I've done so far. It's not quite done, and it's not as fun as my garden. It's my little E garden over here that I embroidered. It's not as fun as that because there are a lot of stitches that are just repetitive and the same color. And I feel like I still have a lot of work to do. But anyways, this is it so far. My weasel. This guy is going to have a tail hanging down, and I'm going to put more dark fur on like the outside here and the edges of his body and on his arms, and then he's going to have legs and a tail. So that's what I have so far. And a lot of you are probably thinking, why in the world would you spend all that time on a weasel that's holding a dead animal? And you're probably right. It's probably crazy. But it was a memory. And that was kind of the point of it. It was a shared memory, and it was fun at the time. So anyways, surprisingly, not surprisingly, that was sarcastic. I was going to say, surprisingly, there are no weasel embroidery things that I could find, especially ones holding a dead animal. So, anyways, there it is. Y'all can laugh at me all you want. Hopefully they'll like it. I think that's all I have for you right now. I really want to start something new. Specifically, I want to do a patterned lace yoked sweater that has a very fun patterning work, like texture pattern work on the yoke of it. So I have some ideas for that. And it's kind of funny because, I don't know, the past month, actually really since the whole coronavirus pandemic started, I really wanted the mindless knitting, like the socks and the 3x3 ribbing and just the plain stockinette. But for some reason now I'm ready to tackle something really interesting, and I'm excited to knit something where like I watch that pattern grow and just watch the texture and the lace work just show up. I don't know why. Maybe I'm getting used to the world as it is right now. And I'm kind of stressed about it because it's been around so long. Anyways, I hope all of you guys are doing well, and I hope you're finding joy and happiness amongst this strange time. And if your state is opening up, I just pray that you guys are safe and that things go really well for you. I will talk to you guys later, hopefully sooner next time than it was between the last 2 times. And I'll talk to you later, guys. Bye.